YouTube so that I can start up the stream, hopefully. All right, here we go. Here we go. All right, hello guys. Welcome to part 2 of our tier list, Song of Ice and Fire list, I guess. Probably going to be a 3 to 4 part stream because we're probably going to do about 2 hours on all these. But hi guys, how are you all doing? Also, I wanted to say, just as a reminder, for you guys voting in this is based off of the books. I know I had a lot of comments on the post I did when I posted this on the community page. A lot of people were confused on if this was for the show or the book, and this is off of the book series because of how long a tier list would have been, like how long it would have taken to put in either fan art or book sketches of the characters and sizing them all down. It would have taken forever. We're doing kind of a Game of Thrones picture version, and then just kind of basing that off of the books. So that's kind of that whole idea there. Another thing, question of the day for you guys that are watching this stream back as a video. I want you guys to guess, how many water bottles do you think I have on my desk? Random question, but how many of these water bottles do you think I have on my desk? Because I didn't realize I had so many until I started the stream, and it's quite a bit. But as this will work, for people that were not here last week, or people that did not watch the last stream in general, is that I'm going to do a character, so we'll go by each character. So for right now, we have Jory. He'll be the next character that we're going to be doing. And then I will kind of put a poll in the chat, and it'll be like S, A, B, C, whatever. Hi, Liberty Stack. How are you? How are you? But yeah, so that's how that's going to work. And then we're just going to go through all of them. Now, last stream, I think we had some questionable ones. I think the Mountain, highly questionable on his position. A was, I don't know. Maybe when we get done with this, we'll go through some of the more questionable ones from my point of view. And we'll talk about it, because I think the Mountain right now, when you look at how massive characters we have in that tier list, like Sansa and even Brienne, I don't know. It seems kind of, Hi, Evie. How are you? How are you guys doing today? Let me know. I'm a wee bit tired. I just got done upping my weight on my dumbbells. I finally got a new dumbbell grip, not the actual weights, so I can put more weight on it and stuff. And pretty tired off of that. But yeah. And then also got done I got done editing videos for this week, because Monday's my edit day, and then I usually have Friday, Saturday, Sunday for recording days. Jory reminds me of bad Jamie. Fair. All right, so let's start out the poll in the chat. I don't think you guys are gonna put him in D, so I'm gonna exclude the D tier. I wish YouTube had more than 4 options for polls. I really do, because it would make this so much easier to do. But I don't know. That's just how the cookie crumbles. If I could speak today, it would be wonderful. That's good to hear, Evie. And by the way, have you? I don't know. I know you said you were going to start a channel. Have you started your channel yet? I don't remember when you said you were going to do that, but I know you said you were going to. Liam, how are you doing today? I'm going to be honest. So my humble opinions for Jory, I'd probably go B. He was kind of a prominent character. I wouldn't even say prominent. I would say he was a side character in book 1 for the Ned plot, and everything going on in King's Landing, just being a loyal Stark guy. Does not have a great end to his character. But yeah, just not a very impactful character. So I think B is a kind of a fine spot for him. I could see people arguing maybe C as well. You guys are actually, let's see, what are you guys saying so far? Kind of split right now, A, B, and C on the voting. Probably won't reveal this one for a little while, just so people can kind of get in and start to vote and stuff like that. And we have some major characters after Jory, with Arya, Marjorie, Oberyn. What else we can have in this stream? Catelyn. Catelyn is a really interesting character for me, because I think if you look at importance and her character in general, she has a pretty interesting story. And yes, that is the one, Emiliano. And yeah, so Catelyn's a very interesting one, where I'm interested to see how you guys place her, because if you're going off of hate from the books, I would say I would probably put her in D. But as far as a character, I don't think you put her in D. Liberty said, it's been a while, man. I hope you're doing good. I've been really busy lately and also lost access to this YouTube account. I managed to get it back recently. Hopefully I can start being active fan again. Hopefully. It's glad to see you back. Sucks that you lost your YouTube account there for a little while. But yeah, I've been good. Just been on the grind and stuff. Hi, Jim. How are you? And then, hi, Casper. How are you as well? Okay, so I'm interested to see where you're placing. So right now, it seems like B is where this character is going to be placed, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm gonna let it go a little bit longer, just see. People can cop in. Maybe that vote will change. I respect that. Also, I want to say for people that didn't watch the last stream, this character here in the middle, Tristane in the show, we're making this Quentin. That's why Quentin or this character's in B. Because we're doing all these off of the show. For the most part, there's some characters that weren't in the books that we just kind of threw in D just to throw them in D. Because I can't actually just delete them. I guess I could put them like not in the actual tier and just leave them at the bottom, but I think that makes it kind of confusing. But yeah, Jory is not an A character. I agree, Jim. I think he's a cool character. I mean, but he just doesn't. He's not around long enough for him to really be a developed, fully fleshed A character. Like I like him and all, but he's just not around enough, in my personal opinion. So I think anywhere from B to C is, I feel like, a fine placing for Jory, in my opinion. But maybe you guys disagree. It seems like I'd say most of you are saying B, so we'll go ahead and put him in B. B, he wasn't really a character with any impact or personality. Yep, I agree, Danny. I would say if I was going to rank him, I'd probably say C. Who's your favorite character not in the show? Young Griff. That'd probably be my favorite character that's not in the show at all. Would be Young Griff. I think he's really intriguing, and I kind of like him, and I like the. Hopefully he's a black. I want him to be a Blackfire because I think it makes the story more interesting, and I kind of love the Blackfires as a whole. So I would say Young Griff. But we're gonna put Jory in B. I think personally I would have put him in C just because he's very low impact. And he's not really much of a character. Like Rickon is kind of in C while we have Jory in B. I don't know. That kind of just seems a little off for me. Grey Worm, I kind of see it because Grey Worm's not exactly. He's not like the show. I feel like the show he actually has a bit of a character. The books, I feel like Grey Worm really doesn't have one for the most part. I think he does, but I don't know. All right, Arya. I feel like I know where this one's going. I feel like I'm not going to have to actually make a poll for this one. But we'll see what you guys think. I mean, she hasn't had a lot of chapters in the last two books. I believe I always have this stat on hand for some reason. But Arya in the last two books has only had 5 total chapters. So, interested where you guys think. I think, personally, she is going to be a major character again and wins. But I also think, for me, probably S. But, I don't know. It's kind of interesting to me where you guys are going to put Arya. I think, for me, I have probably an area where she just needs to be an S. She's one of the major characters. Liam, what are you referring to with the Battle of Stone? I'm a bit confused on what you're referring to there. I do agree the Blackfires are interesting. Agreed, Evie. I think they're super interesting. If Fagon isn't a Blackfire, that will be so disappointing. I don't think I'll be disappointed that he isn't a Blackfire, but I'd still really be interested in his character just because him being a Targaryen is such kind of a loop. Or even if he's a Blackfire, I think the worst one would be he's just some kid. Like, he has no real, like, kind of like how, like, they were like, Rey, like, doesn't have parents. She's not really that important. Like, I think that would be the worst thing possible. But for me, I'm okay even if he is a Targaryen because it's just kind of it's that really cool relationship that I think Dany and Aegon are going to have. Like, how is that interaction going to work? How is Dany going to react to Aegon if he actually is a Targaryen or if he's a Blackfire? However that goes. I'm not an Arya fan. I didn't do S. I'm curious, Jim, what did you do her in her tier? What tier did you do? I'm assuming C. I would assume. It's crazy how young Arya still is in the books. It actually really is. And that's one of the things I talked about in one of last week's videos about the age gap, where the 5-year age gap from Storm of Swords to like Feast or Dance makes a lot of sense for like the Stark kids, but for a lot of other plotlines it really didn't. But yeah. Arya is my favorite Stark. Evie, I would say Arya. I'd probably say she's my second favorite Stark. I think Rob's my favorite, but Arya definitely is a really good one. I think a lot of the C's for Arya are negatively influenced by the latter seasons of the TV show. That's quite possible. I also think Arya is not the most interesting character in the last 2 books, which, again, that's the reason she only has 5 chapters, because in the show, this is something I talk about with some of my friends that, like, they really love Arya up to, like, season 4, and then season 5, she's not doing a bunch because she's training. She's supposed to be gaining skills, gaining knowledge, and being that person, which is something the 5-year gap would have definitely helped Arya's story. But because he didn't do that, we have to see a couple of chapters where she's kind of learning and stuff like that. And, you know, there is interesting stuff, but yeah. The big battle against the Golden Company and the Iron Throne in the Stormlands. I think right now, if you look at the Golden Company, I think the Golden Company have to do well in the next book. Yes, we're only considering the book. I think the Golden Company, there's no point of bringing them all over to Westeros to have them lose, like, right away. So that's my thing with, like, young Griff and that entire kind of plot, is that I think the Golden Company alongside young Griff have to win the first initial one, or it's going to be kind of a really, like, weird thing. Like, why did George make this whole thing up? And especially if they were to lose, like, before Dany even came over, it would be such an underwhelming and bad plot to me that I think the Lannisters just narratively are just doomed. Or at least, like, the throne will be taken. Maybe we see something like how Rhaenyra takes the throne and the Lannisters escape. They go to Castle Rock or something. I don't know. But yeah. Oh, yeah. I guess when I think of Arya, I think of the last 3 seasons of Thrones. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, definitely think the Golden Company will win. Arya, it looks like it's going to be an S. I definitely respect that. I think she just has to be an S. If we start putting Arya and the Mountain in the same tier, then we're gonna have problems. So, all right, Marjorie. So this is an interesting one because Marjorie is quite different from the books and shows, or book to show, I guess. It's something I did. That's another video I'm doing this week. That's probably gonna come out like Tuesday or no, it'll probably be Wednesday or Thursday. And she's a very different character because in the show she's more of an adult. You know, she's not as young as she is in the books, and the show gives her, I feel like, more to do. But the books also keep Marjorie a lot more. I guess we don't know what's going on with Marjorie as much, right? So I don't know. I think Marjorie's gonna be an interesting one for you guys to rank because for me personally, Marjorie's a tough one because I could see anywhere in A or B, and in the show, I think you could argue S, but it's a weird one with the books where I'm not sure where I'd actually place Marjorie. So I'm interested to see what you guys think for that. The actors of Sansa and Arya started believing their own hype, and it shows in how the characters change. That's fair. I think, I don't know, those characters just... I think for me, the show, Sansa was never really that interesting for me. I think she was kind of interesting after the Purple Wedding with Littlefinger, and then they completely butchered that plot with changing kind of Sansa and making her Jane Poole with the Ramsay stuff. I thought that was really dumb, and it kind of destroyed her entire arc. So for me, after that point, Sansa became a character I just did not like. And then Arya, it's something that I've noticed with the show is that usually characters that leave Westeros and go to Essos, or they go to Dany's camp, just become instantly less, like, interesting. And Arya, she has those moments where they're cool, like how the Freys, like, get taken out in the show. It's kind of cool, but at the same time, it's like, okay, I mean, where did she learn how to do all this? Like it just seemed kind of unearned, and that's kind of how I just got done watching, or not just up, but probably a week ago. I just got done, like, getting to that point of the series with my friends who had never watched it, and that scene felt really unearned. Like, it was very, like, it was a good scene, but at the same time, it felt unearned. Is how I'll look at it. All right. So you guys are thinking majority B for Marjorie. That's kind of what I was thinking, because she's a character that just we don't see a lot of her. Is the thing. When we're with Cersei, it's always we're with Cersei, we're thinking about Marjorie through Cersei's eyes, and we never really see, like, I think one of the things that would be awesome for Winds of Winter is if we actually got a Marjorie chapter for the most part. Yeah, but yeah. All right, so Marjorie going into B. Arya was great until she went to Bravos in season 5, then she became boring. Yeah, and I think my problem with Arya in that season is they just gave her too much screen time. Like I said with the books, Feast for Crows, right? She has 3 chapters. Like, she does not have a lot of chapters. She's a very minor character when you really look at the scope of that book, right? And then even in Dance, right, she only has 2. So it's interesting to me that the show went the opposite way because they knew Arya was such a major character. They tried to give her more screen time, and it didn't really work, in my opinion. Oberyn also is up next. So you guys can vote on that. Evie, I like the actress for Sansa, but I still don't like Sansa. Yeah, I think Sophie Turner is a pretty good actress for the most part. I think, like, the last couple things I've seen her in, I feel like she's gotten really bad scripts, and she has not been actually, like, been given, like, a good movie to actually be in with good producing and stuff, but I guess that's how it goes sometimes. I don't know how the show made a whole season with Arya and the Hound, but it's like 3 chapters in the book. That's okay, Liam. That's true, right? Like, when you really think about it, Arya and the Hound are not together that long. But, like, in the show, like, they're together, and I just think the actor and the actress, Maisie Williams, and then I forget who plays Sandor, they had really good chemistry together, and I think some of the things they did with the Hound and Arya was really good, and was something that was a little bit improved from the books, because Arya can kind of seem at times where she's just kind of wandering around a bit, but yeah. A Marjorie POV would cool. Yeah, I think that'd be really awesome to see. That's one of the ones I would love to see. It's kind of like Rob, where we never got one of Rob. I would love to see a POV of Marjorie before she went out, but again, that's not going to happen because George already said there's not going to be any new POVs, which, again, probably a good thing. But it would have been cool to have seen a Marjorie POV at some point. Best chapter with Marge was the one with the Queen of Thorns and Sansa, the one where they asked Sansa about. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a really good one. George cut a ton of Arya said from A Dance with Dragons. Yeah, I would. Yeah, I think I like that he did that, right? Because I think there doesn't need to be a lot of Arya. I think we just need to kind of step in, see what Arya's doing, and then every once in a while, boom. But yeah, Yorn in the show is better in my opinion. Yeah, I'd say. I think the actor that did Yoren did a really good job. Yo, a bit late and probably won't be able to stay the whole time, but finally made another stream on time-ish. Work hours have been rough lately. No worries, Sideshow. And thank you for making the stream. Always good to see you. We're voting on Oberyn at the moment. And I think Oberyn's going to get the nod for S. It looks like it. Yeah, we're going to put Oberyn in S. I agree with you guys on this one. I think you either do S or high A. The only reason I would go high A is just because he's only in one book. So, yeah. A POV seed may pop up from his gardening. That's true. Oberyn's dialogue, action, and impact on the plot in so few pages was huge. Agreed. The one thing, now I talk about this again in my book to character video, or book to show, is that the one thing I wish they hadn't done in the book is in the books we learn kind of how Oberyn meets Tyrion for the first time. And I like that the show saved that scene and that dialogue for when Oberyn's saying he's going to be Tyrion's champion or whatever. I think that would have been really cool. But they didn't end up, or George didn't end up doing that, but I think the show did a really great job of adapting that. Okay, so next one we got is Gren. What are your guys' thoughts on Gren? We've already had some wild thoughts with Ed being up there in S, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Greed Seaman, yep. Can we vote for the wildlings as a whole? It would be in John's best interest to equip and train them in a Westerosi style. That's fair. I don't know. I'm trying to see where the wildlings are. I would assume Mance is on here. Is hold on. Let me see if Mance and Tormund are on here. I don't know who that is because it's things blocking it. Is Mance not on here? Oh, yeah, he is. Okay, Mance is at the bottom. Okay, so Mance will be one of the last ones we do, but he is on there. Do you think the Faith of the Seven actually has powers? No. Personally, I do not. I think George doesn't like having like those kind of powers, like godly powers for the most part. Outside of certain things where like, you know, you have like the things with R'hllor, and you kind of have some things from like the Drowned God where we see like Patchface, there's something going on with him. So there are powers to a degree, but I don't think the Faith is one of them. Oberyn is an S-caliber character that I voted to put in A only because he's in half a book Sally. I would dig a prequel that follows Oberyn's. Yeah, so that was kind of my thinking. The only reason I would not put Oberyn in S would be because he wasn't, you know, he wasn't present for a lot of the series. We need a D tier for this one for Gren. Really, Jim? You really? I mean, what's the voting looking like right now? 70% said C, but most of it is saying B. That is also true Liberty Stag, by the way. George based the faith on his Catholic upbringing. He is no longer religious. That tells you a lot about what he thinks. Yeah, that tells you a lot. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay, so we're gonna put Gren in B. One of the companions of Jon moves to B. We also have Pip. What do you guys think about Pip? I'm not gonna do S here because Jim did think we needed a D tier, and honestly, I think it's more likely D than an S tier for that one. So I'll agree on that. I'll put one in there. All right, so this is Pip. What do you guys think of Pip? You guys think he's same tier as Gren? Do you guys think he's higher? Do you think he's lower? What do you guys think? Oh, we also have Lysa Tully coming up. Yikes. I'm going to be real interested to see where you guys put Lysa. That's all I'm going to say. All I'm going to say. Gren is definitely D. He's just there to give a name to Jon's fellow watchmen. That's fair. I think that's how I feel like a lot about some of Jon's companions. They're just kind of there. The Chet prologue was the most impactful. That's true. That Chet prologue is just, that's a really good prologue. Like, George, that man knows how to write prologues. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. The man knows how to write his prologues. Is the fat High Septon on the list? I don't know. Hold on. Let me look. Well, I'll do a quick little look real quick. I wouldn't think he would. He is not. He is not. I'm not sure where you would put him. I mean, I'd probably, you know, put him in good old D tier, but Pip and Gren are basically the same. Yeah, I kind of agree. Oh, so this was okay. This one, you guys are really split on this one. You guys got 20% for A, 20% for B, 27% for C, and 33% for D. I agree with you, by the way, on that anime or Evie. I don't know why I called you anime, Evie. I think I like Edmure too. I don't mind Edmure. I don't love him, but I don't mind him. I think he gets a lot of unnecessary hate. I thought that Sam was going to die. Dude, could you imagine you start out that book and Sam just gets smoked? He just gets smoked. Jon's not there to save him. He just gets smoked. That'd be a dark way to open that one. Even though it is really dark the way that one opens in general, but isn't the Winds prologue going to be Jane Westerling? We're not sure who it's going to be, like who the POV is going to be. I think it makes sense to be Jane Westerling. But yeah, yeah, I think it's probably going to be. We know she's involved in some way, and George hinting at it that Jane Westerling still has a part to play and is kind of important. I think it makes sense that she would be the POV. The young wolf, sit down. Why do you want me to sit down? Or what are you saying to sit down for? But okay, it looks like we're putting Pip in D. Brett, I'm not letting you on the stream when you don't know anything about what we're ranking in general. If you read the book series, Brett, okay, this is Diablo in chat, by the way, for you guys. If you read the series, okay, maybe I'd let you on. Maybe if you watched the show. Have you read the Sweet Robin prologue fan fiction? I have not, Liam. I have not. Winds of Winter epilogue predictions. That's a tough one, young Will. We could be here for a while on that one. I would say. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. I would say the epilogue. What the epilogue could be, because I've kind of already theorized how I think the end of the book should be. I think the epilogue should be one of two things. I think this one's the most likely. I think it should be Stannis, because this is how I think that Stannis is going to end out. Is that I think he is going to capture Winterfell, and then the White Walkers, one way or another, are going to get through the wall, whether that's with the or the Horn of Winter, whatever. He is going to kind of try to have this last kind of fight to hold them off while the rest of the North kind of retreats, like our main characters, like Jon when he gets resurrected. The rest of our main characters in the North, I think they're going to retreat to like the Neck. But I think the last like epilogue chapter will kind of be Stannis' death and the White Walkers maybe taking over Winterfell or something to that degree. I think could be it. Another thing I could see would be a Bran chapter where he's kind of going through like the crows or whatever, and he sees the army of the dead, and possibly something I think that'd be really cool instead would be showing Stannis at the front of the army becoming like the Night King. I think that'd be really cool as well. For the kind of the ending of a Winds with Winter. Stannis better get a 100% or 100% S. Yes, he will. Don't worry. Brett, calm down. Okay, so Lysa. Yikes. Lysa is a yikes. That's all I'm going to say. Do I meme and put S tier for this one? I bet you guys would love that. All right. Where do you guys have Lysa? Do you think George is going to split Winds? I don't think so. And if he does, I think Winds of Winter is doomed. If he does, it's doomed. Because we already saw this with Feast and Dance. Because they initially were one book. And he had like a good portion of it done. Right? But it still took 5 years in between Feast and Dance getting released. Because he had to go back and rewrite a lot of things to make those books make sense, abandoning the 5-year gap and stuff like that. So to me, I think Winds is doomed if that happens. But I personally don't think so. Turning the page to see Stannis as an epilogue would make sense, but it would hurt to see the title of the chapter. LOL. Yeah, it would. Lysa is a weird one. She is so terrible, but she's written well as such a despicable character. Really depends on if I rate her based on how much I like her or how much I like how she's written. I think that's a great point because to me that's the problem with Lysa and also Catelyn. But Catelyn, I think you're one way or another. You either love Catelyn or you hate Catelyn. There's no in between usually. So Lysa is just a little bit not that way. So I'm going to be interested in what you guys think for Lysa because she is very impactful. But she's kind of a character everybody hates. So Stannis is going to kill the abominations, dead or alive. Fair enough. Lysa should be a B. It would have been a C if it wasn't for her murder of Jon Arryn. Fair. I don't know whether to rank Lysa from likability or how. Exactly. That's the problem, right? That is the problem. How are you going to rank her? You could go in between, right? So for me, if you look at importance to the plot and how she's written, I'd go B. If you go off of likable character, D. You could just go in the middle, go C, which I think is probably a fine spot. You just put her in C because she's an important character for the most part, but then she's also a character no one likes. So, I mean, yeah. Oh, also, answering the question that I asked at the very, very beginning of the stream. I have 4 water bottles on my desk. Here's one that I'm drinking now. I've got this one, which is basically empty. I don't know why I don't throw these away, but I'm going to at some point. And then I got this one's like half empty. I'm one of those people that needs a water when they go to sleep because they wake up and my throat's just dry. And then this one is a travesty because I didn't really drink much of this one, but I have 4 on the desk. She is the Karen of Westeros. That is correct. Yeah, I went C. Okay, fair. Does she get style points for how she exited the moon door? I don't know. You can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. All right. If you think she deserves style points, give her some style points. It was close to begin with, but it looks like Lysa is going to get C tier. All right. I agree with that. I think that's a good ranking. Let's put her right there in between Rickon and Grey Worm to make things awkward. My favorite Frey. Ooh. That's a tough one. I think I'm just going to go for Walder. I know it's basic, and I mean like actual Walder, like how, head of the family Walder. I just think, he's a guy that doesn't give 2 shits. And I kind of like that. I like that about his personality. I mean, he does give a shit about his reputation, but he doesn't give a shit about other things. And I appreciate that. I appreciate it. Dario. I have my grievances with Dario because I think Dario, to me, it hurts Dany's plot. Because I've talked about this a lot when I read Dany chapters, when she's just constantly like thinking about Dario, and I'm just like, I just can't. I just can't. And I'm not a fan of Dario, so I'm interested where you guys are gonna put Dario. I'd probably put him B because he has more personality, more character than Grey Worm. But like, I don't know. I just don't like him. Wait, how the hell is Dolores at an S tier? He has such a small role in the Jim. Sometimes the community goes crazy. Okay. And though that was one of those moments, Jim. That was one of those moments. I probably would have put him in B tier, but a dead Frey. Yeah, that's a good one, Dolcus. That I'm changing my answer to that. A dead Frey. Blackwater's potentially pretty interesting. Yeah, Blackwater's pretty cool. I think he's a pretty good one. I kind of like the Frey house, everybody likes to shit on them, but I kind of think they're a really interesting house. I kind of like their main power is they told you like trolls. I think that's funny. I just think it's like a really interesting concept. And then they kind of go against like the normal like honor system and shit. Okay, so B. We're having B for Dario. Okay. All right. I think I'd probably put him in B as well, but I'm not happy with it. We have so many names like that. OSHA. What a weird name. All right, what do you guys think here? Not a hugely impactful character. We don't even know where she's in the story right now, but yeah. Dolores Ed for Lord Commander. Fair. John did a shitty job. We got to get him out of there. He doesn't know what he's doing. House Frey, House Bolton. Oh, that's a tough one, Stag. That's a tough one. Because House Bolton, they got some weird shit going on with them. Like, they're... I don't know. I don't know about that opinion. I don't know about... Guys, let me know what you guys think about that opinion. You guys like House Frey or House Bolton better? I think House Bolton's more intriguing to me. With kind of their backstory and such, but... Freys are literally the house of quantity over quality. That is correct. I love the looming Frey Civil War. Agreed. What'd be awesome? Okay. Let's just say, right, that George just comes out with a book. Okay. Let's say it's After Winds, Dream of Springs come out, and it's just a book talking about the Freys, and they're just infighting and all that. Would you guys like that? I would love that. Just like to hear like the stories of like, the Freys just being dickheads to each other for like, hundreds of years. Like Fire and Blood, but just with the phrase. That'd be wonderful. George sells Dario, so he sells a sword quite a lot. I like Osha, especially what she did for the Star Kids. Yeah, she did good there. House Bolton. Hello, Denethor of Gondor. Could I be made a Knight of Gondor? Is that possible, Denethor? Do you have that power? I don't know. It's kind of awkward with Aragorn and all that, but I mean, do you still hold that power? I'm just curious. Gotta run and we'll catch the replay. Here are a couple ideas for future streams. Strongest warrior in Song of Ice and Fire and rightful ruler of Westeros. All right, those are some good ideas. I'll screenshot it. Thank you for stopping in, Danny. And I hope you agree with the rest of the rankings for the rest of the stream. Frey better than Bolton. The Roos is loose. Frey or Bolton, do you want cancer or AIDS? You know what, Tim? Why have one when you could have both? How about we just... Yeah, why don't you just take both? Why don't we just have a Frey Bolton kid? Which, maybe that'll happen. Maybe it'll happen. Roos does have a Frey wife. I don't think the child will live, if that ever was to happen. But, that'd be cool. All right. You guys have Osha in B. We got a lot of B's in this stream, I feel like. We've had a lot of B's. Like, we haven't had a lot of, like, stinkers. But, yeah, I don't know. All right, Pycelle. Now, Pycelle, okay. Pycelle's an interesting one because, I don't know, man. I think he's got an interesting backstory, and he is prominent within the story, but he's kind of a shitter as well. So, what do you guys think for Pycelle? He's kind of a memeable guy, you know? He's got some memes, you know? You can't... He's kind of that one dude like that, you know, that's like always whipping out memes, even if they're not relevant anymore. Like they're a meme from like 2010. Like that's Pycelle. That's how I look at Pycelle. I would read that. It would be refreshing to see a likable Frey or two. I'm pretty sure the Frey during the dance was a pretty good dude. You know what? You never see the other side of the phrase. You know what? What if you know, A Song of Ice and Fire was actually written through the point of view of a Tully. And that's why the phrase gets shit on so much. Maybe. Just like how Fire and Blood is through like the Maesters and stuff. I could see it. Crossing and Crossing would be the Fire and Blood for a phrase. Yep. No, George has a brand called Valyrian that sells the Song of Ice and Fire weapons. Wait, does he actually? That's kind of cool if he does. I prefer House Frey as the Boltons are more despicable, loathsome, and cruel. Yeah, but that's what makes them interesting. Jack, that's what makes them interesting. Well, we can get Stannis with super AIDS. Oh, no. Pycelle. Oh, he's a impactful character. This is correct, Punk. Pycelle is a character I love to hate. I can't rate him lower than B. That's fair. It would seem as though the chat does not agree with you on that. They are right now at C. My OCD is kicking in right now because that C is not capitalized. Oh well. Oh well. We live and we learn. And also like C, like there's only 4 characters in C, but we have all these other ones where it's like you have a decent amount, but then there's C tier. You have Catelyn popping up too. You guys are gonna have to make some tough decisions. Also, I don't know if I agree with the Pycelle and C ranking. I don't think I agree with this. I'm not gonna lie. I think you guys had a stinker here. I think 40% of you guys had a stinker. Okay. Because Pycelle, he's not a likable dude, right? He's whatever, but he's pretty impactful. You know, he's got a cool backstory tying back to Robert's Rebellion. I don't know, man. You guys are putting him in C, but I don't know if I agree. You know, we're going to put him... I think Lysa and Pycelle would be a great couple. Like, genuinely, I think they'd be a cool couple. I think they'd be a good couple. Good couple. What do you guys think? You guys down for some Pycelle-Lysa action? Like, you know how there's the multiverse, right, and all that? But do you guys think they could possibly have gotten together? Because I think they're perfect for each other. I think they'd be wonderful. Oh, this is so tough. Because how do I do this poll? Because I think there's people down here that are going to be like, S, right? But I think there's also going to be people in here that say D for Catelyn. So, okay, here's what we're gonna do. Here's how this is what we're gonna do. You guys, this is not gonna be for the actual tier, okay? This is going to be for what you guys, if you guys had to pick between Catelyn being an S tier character or a D tier character, what would you choose? This is going to determine if it's going to be SABC for the poll or ABCD for the poll. So tell me, is Catelyn an S or a D character? What character more like would you like for that? Pycelle is better than Lysa. I agree, 100%. The brand is true, but they cost 1,000. Damn, that's a lot. Voter fraud. Boo. Agreed, Tolkus. He's a pervert. You know what? I mean, there's a lot of things that people do that are fucked in this universe. The Mountain, okay. It's the Mountain. Ramsay, Euron, and the Mountain are an A, and we're talking about Pycelle being a pervert. I think there's much worse things to be in this world. I'm just saying. Like, I mean, people are wrong. XD, yep, agreed. Lysa and Pycelle. Great combo. Only if it was written in full fat pink mask level description of their love. Oh man. That's funny. Okay. So we'll play. Okay, well, so we'll redo the poll. We'll have it SABC. I thought I might get some true Catelyn haters in here that even just, they don't even care about her like actual impact or anything, but well, we didn't. So SABC. This is for Catelyn. What do you guys got for Catelyn? Where do you think she should be? I'd probably put her, if it was me, I'd probably put her in A. She's very impactful, but the sheer fact of I hate her guts would put her in A for me. So we'll see. We'll see what you guys got to say. Because I know not everybody agrees with that opinion, that Catelyn's like, I don't know, Catelyn's just kind of a, she loves her kids, but like her reasoning sometimes is just terrible. Like her reasoning on things is just bad. The way she treats other people outside of her family can be just horrible, like Jon. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on Catelyn? Yeah, you guys are thinking A. All right, but that's about what I would say. I would say about A as well. All right, A is winning by quite a bit, so we're gonna put Catelyn in A. I think that's a fair ranking. I think that makes sense. Catelyn is A tier. She legitimately has some of the best POVs in the first 3 books. I agree. Catelyn is one of my probably top 5 POVs, just not because of her, but because of things that go on around her. She also has the best chapter in the book, so you can't convince me otherwise. The Red Wedding. Catelyn, worst mother in the story. Oh, that's a tough one, Evie. I would not say Catelyn is the worst mother in the story. I think there's worse ones, but she is bad. Like, she's not a great one, right? Sorry, I gotta bounce. Obligations following a thankfully not Red Wedding. Well, hope you have a good time, Tim. Thank you for stopping in, and I appreciate it. Let's get into Craster, okay? Yikes. Yikes. You want to talk about dudes that just Father of the Year award to Craster. Like, it has to be, right? Right, guys? Right, guys? Father of the Year? I think George writing her hate towards Jon is pulled from racism issues in our world. Very likely, or very possible. Definitely where he could have been inspired from that. I think he's also playing on the idea that people can be very jealous because it's kind of implied. Well, it's not implied. It's that Ned slept with another woman, and Catelyn really hates Jon because of that. And I think he plays a lot on the jealousy factor. Not only that, because I don't think Catelyn hates bastards. I just think she hates Jon because of kind of how he was, made, and how she kind of feels betrayed by Ned and stuff like that. I think George, I already read that. Hey, BTUW, why don't you use artwork for characters? So I get this question quite a lot, okay? Especially, on this tier list. And the problem is, if you see how many characters are on this, right? If I did an actual one for the books, right? there would be probably 200 things on here. Now, the next thing you have to think about is I have to download every single one of these images, resize them, because this tier maker, it doesn't automatically resize these for you. You have to do it yourself, and yeah. So that's why I don't. Almost want to give him B for bastard, just because it would piss Craster off, but he's not a B-level character. She hates on Maya Stone too. Oh, that's true. She actually does. You know, okay, that's fair. That's fair. Maybe she just got that bastard racism going on in her. It's a fair point. Craster is going in D. Hold on. Hold on. Let me know who put Craster in A, because there was at least two or three votes that put Craster in A. Huh? Huh? Hold on. What's going on? Also, no problem, Punk. Yeah. Oh, it's a valid question. Like, I'd have the question too if I was someone coming in the stream. I'd be like, why aren't you just? Yeah, valid question. I need to know who put A for Craster. What? Zach, it was you, wasn't it? 100%. It was you. Okay, because like, Liam, what are you doing? What are you guys doing? Okay. I don't think. Okay, so if I'm misremembering here, I don't think Gatlin says she hates Maya, but I do think she like talks negatively towards Maya because she is kind of not talks, but like thinks in her head. At least two people from Alabama and Shaq. You know what's funny, Sidro? I was about to make that joke, but I know a lot of my audience isn't in America, so I feel like some people probably wouldn't get it if I made the joke, but yeah. Okay, so Krabs is going in D, where he deserves to be. Some of you didn't agree, but you know, we get a decent amount of info from Crasser. Yeah, but like, I don't know, Tolgas. I don't know. Like this was my face. This is my face. This is me right now, looking at that. That's me. That's me looking at that. At that 13% of A. What's going on there? What's going on? Okay, what's going on? I just don't understand. All right, let's get on to Pod. Okay, now here we go. Pod. What did Pod do in that brothel? Because that just needs to be established. What'd that man do? All right. Should I make a theory video of what he did in that brothel? Because I think it's very important to the story. I think it's very important. We got Gilly. Yeah, but did we need Gilly? I mean, I'm not a huge Gilly fan. Like, she's all right. But did we need Gilly? That's the question. I don't know. I like Gilly, but Craster, man, that's a Father of the Year award right there. Father of the Year. I know he isn't book canon, young Wolf. I know it isn't. But the thing is, the show introduced it. What happened in that brothel? What happened? We get one of Stannis' best jokes thanks to Craster when he talks about Gilly's baby. Okay, that's fair. Pod is a cutie. Hey, Evie. I mean, a Pod, respectively, as a man to another man, he's respectable. He is a, I would say he's a pretty solid looking lad. Sam needed her. All right, fair. Gilly gave us Sam's red mask. Y'all need to stop. Oh. Please, people, don't even start Pod the Rod jokes. Oh, no. This stream just took a dark turn. Took a dark turn. Okay, we have a three-way tie. 29% for S, A, and B. This is King's. This is not King's Landing. Oh boy. Pod throwing the rock gives me chills every time. You know what to do with the honeycomb and donkey. That's true. All right, looks like we're gonna have to do a revote. Unless one person votes for S, A, or B, we're gonna have to do a revote here. I don't think S though. I think some of y'all are tripping. Okay, y'all are getting too involved in memes. Okay, he's a solid B. He's a solid B. Okay, good. Whoever voted for B, I'm proud of you because that's where he belongs. All right, I love my pod. Okay, he's a great guy and all, but he's not. He ain't up there with the goats. Sorry, he's in B. All right, Duran. A very interesting character, I'd say. He's, I think, made some questionable decisions on trying to get revenge and all that. But we'll see. We'll see. Pod is hung like a god. Maybe. Pod is the D. Oh, okay. All right. I'm interested to see what you guys got for Duran, though, because Duran, I don't know, man. I think you could go a bunch of different ways with Duran. I think for me, I'd probably put Duran. Quentin's in B, so I think Duran maybe A. I think A would be a fair ranking for Duran. He's a fairly interesting character. He's got a lot going on. I wouldn't put him S, though. He's not a main character for the most part. We don't even really, hear much about him or even see him. We hear a little bit about him in Storm of Swords. And then we see him in Feast. But I don't know if I'd go S. Now, off of this tier list for S, where Ed is in there, who knows? Duran is amazing in the book. I agree. But I don't think he's S. I think he's I agree with Sideshow there. I'd say low A, high B is where I would put him. Very mixed though. Okay, so we have it's pretty close between S and A. I'll let this one go for a second. I'm gonna go to the bathroom really quick because I think you guys need a little bit more time to figure out where you want Duran because it's pretty close right now. So I'll be right back. Okay, lads, it seems that you came to the conclusion of A. I agree. We're going to put Duran right next to Catelyn. And also, I'm going to put Catelyn on the stronger side of A. I think that's fair. I just want to move that around so we kind of know what's going on. I love how we have Catelyn, one of the main POVs of the first 3 books, on the same tier as the Mountain. I'm with Preston. King Sweet Robin. I wouldn't be opposed to that. I'd like that better than Bran becoming king. Okay. Let me catch up on some things. Duran is A in my opinion. I got S to just on how interesting what he's got going on is. That was a mouthful, Wolf, but that's fair. Or maybe Duran deserves a special G rating for Maybe. GRM writes with a theme. No PvP character can be king. That's why Rickon will be king instead of Bran. I think that's a hot take there, but I would like Rickon to be king over Bran. I just don't like Bran. What's your favorite dialogue in A Song of Ice and Fire and worst dialogue? I'll be honest. Worst dialogue? Anything with like Tyrion and Shay. That's pretty rough. I'm not a fan of that. Favorite. There's a lot of good ones. I think I'm just gonna go with the one that I think like I would say I quote the most. And I would say the like Tyrion speech where he's like talking to Jon and he's like, use your bastard name, don't like use it as a shield, just accept it, right? And the more you kind of let people in and like know that it affects you, the more people are going to use it against you type thing. I would say that's my favorite just because it's the one that I would say I remember the most and I quote the most. And I also think like it has some bad things and good things to the quote. Because if you take it too far, right, you become someone that is not a good person and stuff like that. But if you take it to a certain degree where it's like, whether you're, I don't know, you have some bad quality you don't like about yourself, accept that quality and either like improve on it and work on it, and use it and make it become one of your biggest strengths. Like something I've struggled with in the past is like mental health stuff. I used to struggle with that a lot more like a year and a half ago after I'd experienced like first loss and stuff like that. And I would say my mental strength right now, because of like going through all that, has now become one of my more stronger things. So yeah, that's I really like that quote in general. Okay, so here's Drogon. What do you guys think about Drogon? I think Doran is one of the main players in the game. Oh, he definitely is. He controls one of the most powerful kingdoms in Westeros, and he's always going to be a player in that sense, and I think he does have a lot going on outside of that. Bran, a part of the... Bran is the worst Stark. His POVs can be a slog to me. If I'm being honest, I like the Reeds and Valerian, but I really don't like Bran. I am someone that... I liked Bran's POVs in the earlier books. I was okay with them because they were kind of a slower down of pace, and it was still interesting because like it was a slowing down of pace, and you kind of still saw things at Winterfell and him trying to rule and stuff. But after they leave Winterfell, I just genuinely do not care like about Bran, and then he gets the Bloodraven, and I'm like, all right, he's kind of cool, whatever, but I don't know. So Drogon, what do you guys think? We have Drogon in either S or A, it would appear. What do you guys think? We already have Rhaegal on here. Rhaegal got B, so I'm assuming off of that knowledge that Drogon's probably going to be higher, which makes sense. But yeah. Also, let me know what you guys had. What'd you guys have for dinner? Last meal you guys had? What'd you guys have? I'm getting hungry. I'm going to have my dinner probably after the stream. But because I'm excited, okay? So I've talked about this last stream too. But my eating schedule is I usually save bulk majority of my calories for the end of the day. So for me, it's 8 p.m. right now, basically, right? Well, I save usually all those calories for later in the day. So I'll have like my quote unquote lunch or my middle meal, because I wouldn't even say it's lunch, was literally rice. Like I had like a cup of rice was like 200 calories, 230 calories, something like that. And then I started off the day usually pretty strong, where it's like I'll have like a wrap, and then like some other stuff, like a couple chips or something. But yeah, so I'm excited about that. I'm excited about dinner after this. Drogon is dragon, of course. He is S. Fair enough. I love the Bran chapter with Wyan Manderley and Nanelle Hornwood at Winterfell. Yeah, that's a good one. I think a lot of Bran's earlier chapters are actually pretty good for the most part. I don't think they're the best in the books, of course, but I think they're pretty solid regardless. You guys are actually pretty split on this one, but I guess we're gonna end up giving Drogon S. It's really split right now. like A and C is tied for 25%, which I think is really odd. I don't know why you guys would put Drogon in C, because you put Rhaegal in B. Maybe, I don't know. This seems like a weird one, but I'm pretty cool with Drogon being an S. I think Drogon's sick. Drogon's sick. Yeah, I don't know. Drogon isn't an S tier dragon. He's no Balerion or Vega or even Caraxes or Sunfire SMH. Okay, now that you brought that up, Citro, so I recorded a video and I edited it. It'll probably be out, I think, Wednesday. Yeah, I think Wednesday. The other video I was talking about is probably going to be out Thursday. And I talked about Y Create's video on the top 3 Targaryens. Now, that's something I reference when he put Daenerys at like 3. I think she was 3 or 2. I don't remember. But my thing with Daenerys is like, why is she the most powerful compared to like Aegon the Conqueror or any of these other characters that had a lot of other dragons like Jaehaerys? Like, I get it, she was the one that brought the dragons back, but it's like, I don't know. It just seems a little stretched to me. I think Y Create on his ranking with like, I respect his idea. I think the idea of the video is really awesome, but I just don't agree with like 2 of the characters out of the 3 on the list. But I don't know. Fair enough. How do you say your name? Is it like Jean? Is it just Jean, or is it like do you pronounce it a different way? And I had ravioli and chips for dinner. Ooh, lasagna. Ooh, Evie, I'm jealous. I love lasagna. Lasagna is like top 5 meals for me. My mom makes like a 5 cheese, basically, lasagna for my birthday, like almost every year, because it's what I ask for every single year. And it is fantastic. All right, Bran. Again, another interesting one. I'm not going to put S tier on Bran because that's a travesty if we put Bran in S, but yeah. But yeah, let me know what I was talking about earlier. What I wanted to say was like, who do you guys think are the most powerful Targaryens? Wait, I'm so confused. I'm trying how to pronounce Shauna or John. I'm so confused because you're the E and the A trips me up. But okay, I'll try my best. I used to watch Y Create, but I no longer do. I watch Y Create every once in a while. I just saw his video, like, and it was something that I think was really interesting to me. Was the idea of the video, because it's a video I've wanted to do for a while, but it's something I wanted to reread Fire and Blood, get more familiar again with it, and yeah. I'm gonna be honest, Jim. I just don't think he's an S tier character. I think he is more likely a D tier character than an S tier. But I don't know. Aegon, Visenya, Allison. Oh, it's a French name. Okay, all right. All right, that makes sense. I'm not a culture. I'm American. I'm not very cultured. I think, okay, so in that top 3, I don't think you can make a top Targaryen's most powerful without Aegon on the list. I just don't think you can. Like, he is Visenya and Rhaenys is king. He's the one basically in charge. He has the biggest dragon, right? He is the one that it's even said like he's a little less than Visenya, or if not, maybe on par. He could hold his ground, right? I just don't understand how Aegon the Conqueror was not on that list. It blew my mind. All right. Visenya is a good shout, but I wouldn't have her in my top 3. I think Visenya. It's tough because Visenya is a character where she has Vhagar, one of the biggest dragons and one of the coolest ones. She is a good fighter. But there's characters like Alysanne, like Liam said. I in my video I made, because I made a video, I did about 6 characters I talked about, and 2 of them were Alysanne. I don't know how you say her name, to be honest, and Jaehaerys. I think those 2, are probably two of the most powerful. It was in a time where you have a ton of dragons at the time. You had peace for 50 years. I think either way, you can either go Jaehaerys or Alicent. I think, or just loop them together in the video. They should have been there as well, above like Daenerys, but I don't know. I really like Rhaenyra. Dude, Rhaenyra is my favorite Targaryen. I didn't put her on the list though, because Rhaenyra, she is someone that is very. It's hard to talk about Rhaenyra in terms of power, because Rhaenyra had a lot of dragons, but she wasn't a fighter like, Visenya, for instance. She wasn't a good ruler like Alicent. And again, she got put in a really shitty situation. She went through a lot of shit with losing children, which is really tough. She was paranoid of Daemon because, I mean, he's a typical bad boy. Like, yeah, I can see why she was. But yeah. Aegon the First, Visenya, Maegor the Cruel, Jaehaerys, Daemon, Aemond, Rhaenys, all stronger than Dany. Yeah, I agree. 100%. I would even go as far as Bloodraven at the moment is more of a stronger and more impactful character than Dany, based upon how he was kind of able to rule and stuff. Aemond One-Eye Stag. Really? You believe Aemond One-Eye? Really? I don't know if I agree with that one. Yeah, we're actually not told how Maegor dies. Like, it's because he basically is on the throne dead. Like, he basically killed him. But it's also like he could have been killed as at the same time. So I don't know. We're not actually sure on that. All right, so you guys are putting Bran in A. All right, that's fair. He's a main POV. He's important to the story. Well, kind of. So yeah, I agree. I agree that's probably where he should be, but I don't think any higher than A. He should not be S. I'm just putting that out there now. Salador San. I don't know how you say it. I don't know. Salador San. He's definitely not S, so we're gonna do A, B, C, and D. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about our pirate friend of Stannis? What do you guys think? Also, just seeing our progress is definitely going to be at least a part 3 series. We're probably not going to be able to get through all these in the next hour or whatever, but we'll try our best. We'll get through them. We'll get through some at the very least. I think for the most part, you guys have definitely done a way better job this stream than last stream. I think last stream we had a lot of questionable, well, not a lot of them, but some questionable ones. Viserys the Second was more powerful in an influence sense too. He basically administers the kingdom for 2 kings before he dies shortly after taking the throne. That's a fair point, actually. I could agree for that one. But that's the other thing that I struggled when I did that video is when you talk about power, right? What is power? And I think that's one thing Why Creates Video did that I don't think he did a great job of explaining, because there's so many different ways you can go ahead with power. And that's why in my video personally that I made, I talked about how power is so different that doing just a complete ranking of the Targaryens and their power is so hard to do, because how do you base power? Do you base it off of their dragons, how they were as a ruler, their strength at arms? How do you rule, or how do you base someone on power? Do you do a joint of those kind of ideas? And it felt like Why Creates Video was just all over the place when it came to that idea, where you have Daenerys, where it's like, okay, she's not a fighter or anything like that. She doesn't have the biggest dragons, but she has dragons. That's important to keep in mind. Power-wise, she's not even Queen of Westeros, so when you look at other kings and stuff like that, they had more influence. So, but Daenerys does have the idea that she brought magic back into the world. So, how do you quantify her power when you look at other characters, right? So, like I've talked about in this video, Jaehaerys. how do you calculate that when Jaehaerys was someone that was, for the most part, we know because he trained a lot before he became and actually became the king at the age of 16, fighting with his King's Guard. He became a very good fighter. They all said he could stand his own, being probably the greatest king in Westeros history, having more and bigger dragons than Daenerys had. But at the same time, Jaehaerys doesn't, I guess, have that magic quality that Daenerys kind of has. So it's like, how do you quantify which is better? Right? So I think that's something he could have done a bit better in that video. But again, no hate to him. I think he had a good idea, and I think, all that. Favorite Florent. I'll just go Celeste just because she has a mustache. That's pretty cool. The Florence, dude. Okay, so I went back with you guys on the comments because there was a video I did that was like, it was from our stream when we were talking about why did Stannis, marry her, and a lot of you guys thought that I was saying that the Florence were a very minor house. I was trying to say, like, in the scope of Stannis and his potential, like, who he could marry, like, think about it like this. Rhaegar, the hottest topic. Everybody wanted to marry Rhaegar. He was the heir to the throne, good looking. Now, Stannis, not good looking for the most part, but he is the heir to the throne. He holds just as much power or influence in that idea, right? You get married to probably the fourth, maybe, like, let's say on best case scenario, third strongest house in the Reach. That makes no sense. That's like marrying Rhaegar to, like, the Boltons. It's like, yes, they are a powerful house within the North, but at the same time, they're not that powerful in the scope of the world, right? Like, that's what I was trying to say, and then that. I bet we won't hear from Salvador Sand again. Guy's gone, bro. He's gone. He ain't coming back to the Stannis camp. All right, so you guys have him in C. I respect that as well. Ooh, Miri. Where do you guys have Miri? That's an interesting one. Miri. She's into character that, again, is not in the story very long. She has a lasting effect on Daenerys. She kind of thinks about Miri quite often. But again, not a great character when you look at motivations and things like that. We don't see a ton of her. But yeah. Agreed, Stag. And that's kind of my point, is that let's say Stannis is like a 6 out of 10 of her ranking on physical appearance. Just because he's next in line of the throne, he's kind of rich, whatever. His status will make him go up to like an 8, it would make him go up in appearance. Like, it's kind of how, like, girls will say, oh, if a guy's funny, he instantly becomes more attractive. That's kind of the same premise I'm trying to make with Stannis. But yeah, maybe at the time there were no Hightower girls he could marry, and there's no way he would marry a Tyrell. That's true. I mean, if you look at the motivations for why he was married there, it was really to kind of put the Tyrells in their place. But at the same time, it's like, really? That's it? That's the only reason? I just feel like Stannis got shafted because he's a loyal brother and would do pretty much whatever Robert says. It was just, yeah. I get what you're saying, though, Quincy, 100%. Yeah, agreed, Tolkis. Miri did nothing wrong. Honestly, when you look at how Khal Drogo probably died, I think Khal Drogo died because he didn't listen to Miri at all and ignored all of her, like, doctorly advice. And then if you look at everything that happened to Miri and her people, I kind of don't blame her, honestly. I think Hoster is the gay one, not Blackfish, maybe. I think she is B simply because of her influence in the story. I can honestly get behind that, honestly. I could definitely see where you're going there. I'd probably put her in C personally, but I definitely can see why you put her in B. Stannis could maybe have been betrothed to Arianne or something, since the Dornish sided with Aerys too. Agreed. Like, and that's what I'm saying is, like, I guess I know Stannis missed out on kind of the marriage wave because everybody was getting married either right before the Roberts Rebellion or during, and he kind of missed out on that. But come on, we can find my guy a better match than an ugly Florent who's not even close to being in line of being like in charge of the Florents. You know? And that is also a really good match tag that you said there. I feel like both of them are too young though. But my thing is, in this world, Quincy, no one's too young. That's the world George has built for us. And it could have been one of those things where it's like a betrothal, where they don't have to get married right away. And you could have just waited. We see marriages like that all the time, and in Westeros, and especially like Targaryen lore and Fire and Blood, that happens all the time. So, I think those make more sense than a Florent, like, or not even a Florent that's way down the list and is very unattractive. I don't know. So you guys have Miri. Ooh, it's tied for C and D. We need one more vote. One more vote in either C or D to sway the vote, or we're going to have to re-vote, or I'll just choose my own, and it'll probably be C. So if you don't want her to be in C and you want her to be in D, vote for D, I guess. I'm going to give it a second, and then I'm just going to put her in C. Okay, we're putting her in C. That's what's happening. She's going in C, right next to Salvador San. You know, that's another power couple. Salvador San and Miri. What a power couple that could be. I think Loras is not fine. Oh, Loras is definitely not fine. Loras is... He's struggling. My guy is struggling. Okay? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Give me a reason why you think that Loras is fine. That there's nothing wrong. All right, moving on. We have Ilaria. Where do you guys think Ilaria is? Ilaria. Now remember, this is not off of the show. The show, she's absolutely dog shit. But we'll see. What do you guys think about in the books? Where do you have Ilaria? At least could have given Stance a woman without facial hair. Some men in the realm would be jealous of. That's fair. Patchface is Shireen's father. I don't know about that one, Chief, but interesting. Like, could you imagine? Celise, man, she got some real quirks going on. That's all I'm gonna say if that's what happened. I think Loras's injuries were probably exaggerated. But why though? Like why? Like why exaggerate his injuries though? Like what does someone have to gain off of that? I'm like maybe like Cersei, because she gets the news from that person, really gives them a reward or something. I don't see. I don't know. I agree, Citra. I agree. And yeah, don't use that show bias, Cardinal. Don't be doing it. We don't want no biases here. You have biases, the mountain ends up in A. That's what happens. Agreed, Stag, agreed. It's difficult for Ilaria because we haven't seen her a lot in the books. I agree. That's why I think she's like a solid B, solid C. Anywhere in there, B or C for me. You guys are thinking B? All right, I'm down with that. Let's put her in B. B is getting really saturated right now, but oh well. Rain literally ran off after. That is true. That's true. Okay, these are valid points. but my thing with Orain is I think he ran off for other reasons. Like I think he saw that the Cersei like ship was kind of falling and kind of fucking shithousery that was going on there. I don't think that was more of because of that, but I definitely see your guys' points. All right, I can see it. Samwell. Where do you guys have Sam? This is an interesting one for me. I think I'd probably put Sam low S or high A. He's kind of how I feel about Catelyn, except I actually like Sam. Thoughts on Tormund being Hoster? No. Stop. Like, Leo, stop. No. No. Absolutely not. Also, I don't like Hoster as a person, and I'd like to think highly of Tormund, so. All right. Some of you guys put him in C. I just disagree. 100% if you put him in C. Oh, okay, wait. Hold on. Now that I'm reading this, wait. Quincy. Cersei wouldn't use Loras for the trial by combat anyway. That would be like Marjorie if that was going to be, but like the other thing is Loras is going to be injured anyway. Like even regardless if he's like has as bad of injuries as he does, he wouldn't be there to do it anyway. So I don't know. That one, I don't know. That point I actually disagree with. S for Slayer, I agree. How is Lady above Rickon and Balon? Well, you see, Balon is a prick and nobody likes him. And Rickon, I don't know, honestly. I would have put Lady in C as well. I think Lady is pretty meh, but you know. Tormund being the father of Mage's children is a better theory. Okay, see that one I reasonably can understand, okay? But Hoster, I just don't understand. Like, there's no way Tormund was making Lysa and Catelyn. Like, this didn't happen. Stoneheart is Rob. What is going on? Stoneheart is Rob. Leah, what's going on, man? Okay, Cersei might be crazy enough to be like, well, if I'm going to die, I might as well take Loras down with me. And the Tyrells didn't want to risk it. Fair, I guess. I don't think she's that crazy, but I mean, maybe. Balon is important to the story. I agree. 100%. I think Balon, for me, low B, high C. That's where I put Balon, for me. But at the same time, Balon's a prick, so I'm okay with putting him in D. He's the stupidest character. Maybe Quincy. It's possible. But I don't know. It seems kind of unlikely to me. But I see where you're coming from. Samwell is right now tied at S and A. He's tied. We may have to do a revote here. Euron is Eddard. Jesus Christ, you guys are losing your minds. Which characters do you find more likable on a reread? I don't think I liked Theon all that much on a first read, but now he's one of my favorite characters because he's saying his arc is so, yeah. So, Doey, I'm going to give you a different answer because, well, no, I'm not. What let me think about that. Let me think about that for a second. I would say Arianne. Arianne was a character when I first read her. I was like, you know, she's okay. She's whatever. You know, she's fine. And then especially the last reread I did, which I finished probably like a couple months ago. I really like Arianne. She's one of my favorite characters going into Wins. So I would say Arianne for me. This community thinks Dolores Ed is better than Samwell. It appears that way, Jim. It appears that way. You know what? Okay, since that one is so just out there, here's what we're going to do. We are going to put Sam in A because that is where the poll suggested. But we're going to do a re-one of Ed. Because it's just it's rough to look at, you know? Like, all right, this is your revote for Ed. We are not doing another one. So if this one he stays in S, that's just how it's gonna be. We're doing a revote though, because I'm just lost on that. Sam is strong Belwis. That's correct. Sam is Giga Chad. Cold Hands is Mance. Where are these theories coming from, man? Dusky Woman is Wyman Manderly. I agree, Joey, by the way, on what you just said. Does y'all gotta stop. Y'all gotta stop. You guys need to stop. But yeah, no, I agree. I think Feast for Crows on your first reading is definitely worse. But I think as you reread it, you really start to appreciate it. Don't worry, Jim. I got you on the revote. I got you. It's been bothering me as well. But I think we're going to do the Mountain as well. I think we're going to do a revote on the Mountain because I don't think he deserves A. But it's just amazing to me how split you guys are on Ed. There's 14% of you are like, he's the best guy ever. There's some of you that are like, yeah, he's cool. He's good. A. I'm cool with him. The 21% of you is just like, he's there, you know? And then there's a good 30% that's just like, who's this guy? He fucks around with John, right? That's who that guy is? Right? Alright. But like, dude, like, you guys are so split. Any ideas of Quaith endgame? I have this idea that past beneath the shadow part of her prophecy refers to Vaser Thak, but no idea of the two touch the light. Ella, maybe burning all the cows. So Quaith, I think yes, that part of it could be relating to that and her burning the cows, similar to what she did on the show. Hopefully not that stupid, but yes, I think Quaith. I think the main thing that I think will be used is I think she's going to be used to help reinforce the idea that Aegon is a Blackfire. I think that could be something that she really is going to be a big part of. Because when you really look at how, I did a video on this as well, how Aegon gets kind of seen as a Blackfire, if he is one, there's not really a lot of ways that's going to come out. Right? Like you have Varys, you have Illyrio, but outside of that, like who's really going to know he's a Blackfire? So, yeah, I don't know. I think that's interesting. You guys have a three-way tie for A, B, and C. Every single one except for S. That's what I'm saying. Last stream, some of y'all were on the drugs. On the drugs. Agreed, Citra. Agreed. And I genuinely don't know what he's going to do with the Tattered Prince. That is something that I genuinely am interested in. Okay, so I'm going to let this be my own personal opinion then, because you guys have a tie for A, B, and C, so I'm going to pick out of those. I'm going to put Ed in B. I think he's a fine character. I think he's right there with Gren, right? Like I don't see the difference between how big like of a gap they are, so he's going to go to B. Now, moving on, we're going to do the Mountain, because I think the Mountain we need to have a revote. Because I think the Mountain somehow got placed in A, and it doesn't make any sense to me. I don't think he should be there. But we're going to see what you guys think, because I think that was also a whiff. I'm trying to give you guys some redemption arc. Hold on. I can't really vote since I've only read the first book. I'm waiting for him to finish them. I'm not doing it until they're done. I trust y'all to come up with good lists. Cheers, everyone. Yep, hopefully they do. I'm trying to give them some redemption going on. And you know what? I respect your opinion, Gryffindor. The books are extremely good. I think all of them are. But I definitely see the value of waiting until they're done. Now, you might be waiting for a good 10, 15 years, but when you finally get to read all of them in a row, I think they'll be great. I hate that they made Dany fireproof in the show. Agreed. I thought that was so stupid. Loras is inspired by King Frederick of Prussia. All right. Okay. I don't actually know anything about King Frederick of Prussia, but that's cool. Fun factoid. B plus S equals S. Fair. S. Cardinal. Gain an S. Okay. The thought that occurred into your mind that he was S. is wrong. I don't know if you're talking about Ed or the Mountain. Gregor was in A. The stream I missed must have been out of control. How many people? Dude, I'm telling you, they were drunk. Citro, I'm telling you, they were drunk. Like, look, we're doing a revote, and you guys, I think I have the smart people in there this time. Actually, you know what? A is pretty close again, but I think I got the smart people in the stream this time. But I think we had some people last stream that were just they were trolling, or two, they were just they had too much to drink, Okay, it looks like C is going to win. This is where the Mountain should have been. I think C, he doesn't really have a character arc. His only notable thing is killing Oberyn. I don't think we'll ever get a Dream of Spring, but I'm still holding out for hope for wins. I think we'll get wins within the next 4 years. But Dream of Spring, I don't know. I don't know about Dream of Spring. I think that one's a little less likely. Getting on to Egret. This is another interesting one. Because I think this might be a opinion you guys disagree with, but I think in the show she was much better than she was in the books. But we'll see. I think she was still really good in the books, but yeah. He gets headaches, bro. He can't control it, man. He's just gotta control it. That is actually, I agree with your theory there about Robert Strong being the Lord of Heron. I agree with that theory. That's a solid theory. I read fan fictions while waiting for Winds of Winter. There are some good. There are. Okay, there are a lot of good ones, and maybe we'll start doing videos where we look at fan fictions. I don't know. The Mountain is Sweet Robin. I could see it. More like the Mountain is sapping all of Sweet Robin's like strength. It's how he got so huge. He's sucking the life force from him. Egret and Jon is the best love story. I agree. I think they genuinely have the best love story, just in general, in the books and the show. Oh, tough one. We have an S and an A race. We have a little bit of 20% in B. We'll see. I read a fanfic recently where the author attempted to write Winds of Winter. It was actually pretty decent considering it was written in 2012, 2014. You love to see that. It's amazing to me that like people already were starting to write fan fictions for it back then, just because of how long it has been. Egret and Jon had really good chemistry in the show. Yeah, it helps that Kit Harington and Rose Leslie or Roz Leslie are actually married in real life, so that definitely helps. Agreed, Citro, agreed. Why are Dany's memories very sus? I don't know. I mean, Dany's memories are a bit weird, and I know it's something Preston Jacobs has made a lot of videos on. I haven't actually watched a lot of them, but I know that's one of his big things. But I don't know. That is something that is genuinely interesting. I agree. Prefer show Egret over book. Love to see that, Evie. Love to see it. Check out the fanfic A Rainbow Math. I don't think I want to. Lemons can't melt colossal beans. Are you memeing Young Wolf, or is it actually a fanfic? The jokes you've been making, I got a bad feeling about that. Who's your crush in the books? Fire and Blood, I would say it's Rhaenyra. I would say she's my overall one in the books, but dude, that's such a tough question because the books, there's not a lot of female characters that are above the age of 16. So that's a tough question to answer. Especially when you look at the show counterparts, because in the show, I would say Emilia Clarke. Because she seems like she has a really good personality and she's super attractive and a little bit more down to earth. But the books, I don't know, man. I'm trying to think. I really don't think I have one in the books. Like, because it's all weird because all these characters like 14. Wrong, it's Sam. Sam's a good one. Ooh, yeah, Ariane's good. I'll agree with you on that one, Stag. I'll go with you on Ariane. I'll go with Ariane for me. Sorry for that loud noise from me drinking my water. Asha, okay, I can see that. Val, I can see that as well. President Jacobs, the man, I'll give him points for creativity, but you guys are right. He's a little mad. He's a little mad sometimes. All right, Egret and A, I agree. Mel. All right, here's an interesting one. Mel. Definitely some interesting priorities that she has, but I'd say a pretty important and impactful character. For me, probably would be another A. Egret and Catelyn kissed by fire. Oh boy. Cat is hot in the books. That is true. Cat is supposed to be very hot in the books. That's something I always thought was really weird, is they cast Catelyn, like, Catelyn and Ned in the show, right, are not, like, 25, I think, what's Ned, like, 30, like, early 30s, maybe, in the books, and then they have Sean Bean, where it's, like, he's a bit older, you don't look that young, you know? I always thought that was kind of interesting. Lady Stoneheart. What about Lady Stoneheart, Young Wolf? If Lady Stoneheart was on here as a character, I just think she's super cool. S. No, I'm joking. I think Lady Stoneheart would probably be A as well. Like, just right there with Catelyn. Asha Greyjoy is in her 20s. That is correct. It is okay to have a crush on Asha Greyjoy. All right, Mel is getting an A ranking. All right, I agree. 100% with Mel and A. Theon, all right. Or, sorry, Reek. What do you guys think about Theon? Character that has less of a role in the books, but is still extremely good. I think he's a great character. We're kind of starting to hit some of the bangers now. We're hitting a lot of the major characters. Cal was only 35 years old when she died in the books. Agreed. It's really weird that, like, in the show they were aged up so much. Like, when it comes to, like, Ned and Kat. Mel is a character I would have rated a rank lower before we got a POV from her, but I like her a lot more seeing things from her point of view. Agreed. I 100% agree with that. Is Mel your crush in the books? Best character in the show, Theon? I could agree with that. George really screwed up the ages in the books. Yeah, I think that 5-year gap really screwed him over, in my opinion. I'm Reek. It rhymes with leak. Yep. Theon is S tier. Anything else is factually wrong. Okay. Theon's characters are so good, but I hate him. What do you think about the hooded man in Winterfell? I personally think that's Theon's imagination. I think that's all in Theon's head. George did say Mel is the most misunderstood character in A Song of Ice and Fire. Yeah, well, George is someone that's very horny when he writes, and it's very apparent. Theon is top 10 ease. I can agree with that. Oh, it's real close, though. I'm losing my voice a little bit, guys. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm kind of losing my voice. Theon is top 10. I kind of agree. I think Theon should be probably S. What character is the most like their character in the books from the show? I think Ned is pretty spot on. Like, books to show, I'm pretty cool with that. So I would say Ned is a good one that's pretty similar. Arya, I think, is another good one. I think Arya and Ned are very similar. I think Samwell is another one that's pretty accurate for the most part. But yeah, those would be the three I'll just say right off the bat. Am I the only one that thinks one of the weirdest age changes from the for the show is Missandei? She's like 9 in the books, but then again, Yeah, I agree. I agree, Sidra. That's a really weird one as well. Alt Shift X has a great video on the Hooded Man. Here's the thing. A lot of Alt Shift X videos I've watched, but I watched them so long ago because a lot of his most popular videos were coming out in the peak of the show and stuff. But yeah, he made excellent videos back in the day. And he still does. It's just a lot of them on his main channel aren't about Game of Thrones or anything. It's a lot of his like second channel, which are usually pretty good videos as well. Drogo send the pink letter confirmed, of course. Tyrion, but disappointed Dinklage doesn't know for bad. That's another one. I forgot about Tyrion, but yeah. I would disagree on Tyrion though. Because Tyrion in the books is much darker, even in the earlier books compared to the seasons or the earlier seasons. He's more of a darker character, an anti-hero. So I wouldn't say Tyrion. No, agreed, Stag. I'm just talking about like probably up to like season 4. Yeah. Oh God, Young Wolf, you gotta chill. All right, Theon is going into the S tier. Let's go. And you know, because of what happened and how traumatized this man's been, we'll give him second place on S tier. Ghost is still up there. Tywin. That's a really good one as well. Not sure. That's another good one. All right, moving on, we have Walder Frey. What do you guys think about Walder? I respect. I have no. This is a no Walder Frey shit show right now because he is not going in D. Yeah, agreed, Doey. I agreed. Yeah, I watch his Bridge series. Yeah, I used to watch his Bridge series all the time. I used to do it when I was using the treadmill. I'd put him on and I would listen to him like maybe at like work if I have downtime or something. But I just got to the point where I think I like his style to a degree because it seems very like personal, right? You feel like you're kind of like talking to a friend when he's reading the series. And that works for some people. That doesn't work for other people. And for me, it doesn't work for me because when he's going through the chapters, it really takes me out of it when he goes on the tangents and stuff, which is fine. Again, a lot of people like that style where it's more casual. I am someone that if I was ever going to do a series like that, I would not be like that as much. Like I would not be interacting with chat as much, unless it was something that was building on the content. Like I say, you guys asked me a question where it was like something in Winds of Winter, right? Where do you think this character's gonna go in Winds of Winter? Unless it pertained to some sort of foreshadowing in the chapter, I probably wouldn't respond to the comment. But that's because that would be my style of doing that kind of a series. But yeah. Character that changed how you thought about them the most. So book. If we're going off of the book, probably say Jamie. I know it's a basic answer, but I would probably say Jamie. If we're going off of like show to book, like the show impacted how I think about them in the book, I would say Rob. Oberyn and Tyrion are my favorites in the show. I have no frame of references. I only read for So both of those are fantastic characters. I'd say Oberyn is pretty similar in the books. Tyrion is just vastly different. If you want like a good way of how it's explained, Alt Shift X did a really good video on. It's like a really long one on Tyrion's character that really shows how he's different in the books. I think if you wanted to do that, I don't know if you want to be spoiled from things in the book or not. Mayhaps he is a B. Walder's an oddly A tier for me. He's a great villain. He's repulsive, but he's such a well-created character. I 100% agree with you, Sideshow. That's where I would have him. Is that Walder Frey is going to enter S tier. I don't know about that one, guys. I think you missed on this one. I think Walder's a solid A. I think he's like middle to bottom part of A. But S? Just remember, you guys are putting Walder ahead of Sansa, Brienne, Catelyn, all main POV, Sam, main POVs. And then also great villains like Ramsay and Euron. And Bran, who's also another POV. For a character that's not terribly in the, like, important in the, well, he's important in the story, but he's not in the story a ton. Okay, Walder Frey is going in S tier. I didn't think I'd ever say that, but he's going in there, I guess. All right. Every time you guys, like, hit, you miss right after. I don't know what happened. All right, well, Alistair, let's just move on. I mean, I don't know what to say. Like, that's just, wow. Yes, Citro, that's what I'm saying. Even though that was screwed. I think there are some Tully, and I don't think about Stark haters. I think Tully haters, okay? And I am one of the toy haters, but I don't know. I still don't understand how the twins have enough room to house all the Freys. I agree. That's a question we need answered, and that's why we're going to get a lore book of the Freys one day. That is my goal of this channel, is to get it to a point where it's so influential that we get a message to George, and it says, we want the damn Frey lore book. But Sansa's the smartest person we know. It's true. Alistair is a throny man. That is correct. Very correct. Also, Alistair Thorne's another character where in the books, he's not really present all that much. He kind of just gets, he's kind of a little bitch in the books, right? He's sent away like so much, and then he finally comes back, and then he gets sent away again. Like, you know, he's very vastly different, in my opinion, from the show version. It shows the character room and Tyrion a good guy when he's meant to be a great character who's a lot more complex and nuanced. Agreed, Stag. I think that was a really good video. And that video inspired one of my first Tyrion videos I ever did on the channel. It was like within the first month or two. That video definitely heavily inspired the video I did in my Winds of Winter prediction kind of video for Tyrion. All right, you guys are saying Alistair in B. All right, I agree with that. I agree. Lads, is this Doria down here? I always forget the names of Dany's handmaidens because I just genuinely don't care about them for the most part. But I think it's Doria, correct? Stoats and Bridges. A Frey history. Make it, George. That's what I want. That's what I want. That is what I want. All right, I need confirmation, lads. Is this Doria? Is this woman's name? I'm just gonna put Doria as the name. I don't care. I just don't care. This would be a D for me. If you want me to be completely honest, this would be a D. Elaine Stone hotter than Sansa. Can't answer that question for legal reasons. So yeah. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? D? You'll love to see that. This character should be in D. All right. It's either D or C, but I think it's a D. And that is Doria. Okay, thank you, Evie. Appreciate it. I get a little confused on my handmaidens of Dany. Also, I think we're going to end on the Blackfish. I think that'll be the last one we are going to do for the stream. We still have a long way to go, so maybe we have 2 streams left. Interesting. My biggest frustration with the show is that Tyrion and Varys both become idiots after spending 6 seasons telling us that they were the smartest people in the room. Weird changes. Agreed. Maya Stone hotter than Elaine Stone? Okay, we can't have this conversation. This conversation needs to get shut down. All right, we are putting Doria in D. Right next to Craster. All right, what are you guys' thoughts on Gendry? Another character with a limited role in the story, but someone that could be pretty big character as we move on in the story and wins and Dream of Spring. What do you guys think about Gendry? A character that was very much mixed with Edric Storm in the show. I think Edric Storm is more of an interesting character than Gendry, personally, but we'll see. Cotter Pike or Dennis Mallister? I'll take Dennis Mallister. I'll take Dennis. Do you think Maya Stone will have a bigger role in Windsor? No. I don't know. No. For me, no, personally. The Handmaidens are forgettable. Agreed. Tom and his thick, if you know what I mean. Can't comment on that either. Can't comment on that. I think Lothar Brune definitely, but I don't know about Maya. I don't know. There's so many characters in the Song of Ice and Fire that I'm like, they're there, but I don't know if they're gonna actually have a role in it. So I don't know. What do you guys think about Gendry? You guys are saying B for Gendry, and I completely agree. Also, this is also the mountain. I don't know why he's on here twice, so I guess we'll just put the mountain right next to the mountain. I don't know why he's there, but all right. And then Yoren. What do you think about Yoren, guys? Character that I kind of like slightly more within the show. But what do you guys think? What do you guys think about Yoren? Gendry in the books, Gryffindor is kind of even less of a character than he is in the show. So put it that way. Like, Gendry starts out very much the same in the books for the most part. And then, you know how in the show, right? He, like, you know, goes with Mel or whatever, and he goes over to Dragonstone. You have all that. Well, that doesn't actually happen in the books, and some other shit happens, and I'm not going to spoil it just in case you want to, you know, that'll be new for you. But something else happens, and it's even more, it's like really minor, and I mean, I don't know. Robert Strong. Yeah, but let's be honest, it's the mountain. Cardinal, it's the mountain. I don't know. We're just going to put him in C. We're just going to let it go. Thoughts on Brandon Stark and Ashara Dane are the parents of Jon, and Lyanna and Rhaegar are the parents of Dany. I'm going to be honest, okay? Me, Ashara Dane is a character that is so, to me, she's very blown up, and she's not as important as a lot of people like to think she is. Guys, I'm going to give you a reminder. Ashara is named 5 times in the entire book series. That's like 6,000 pages. And she was named 5 times. Ashara Dane being the parent of Jon, I just don't think has as much meaning as Lyanna and Rhaegar. And then also Dany being the, like, child of Lyanna and Rhaegar, to me, doesn't make a lot of sense, because why wouldn't Viserys, like, say something like, you know, like, I don't know. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me personally, but yeah. Okay. Yoren, you guys have in B. Okay, I think that's another fair placement of Yoren in the book series. I think in the show, you can make an argument for low A, but I don't know. Ilyn Payne, another character with much more going on in the books than the show, so it's going to be interesting to see where you guys rank him. Can't actually talk, so that, you know, that kind of brings him down a little, but it also adds to his fear factor. Wyman is your sugar daddy. That's a good person to have as your sugar daddy, not going to lie. If Fagon is a real, Dany can't be fake, and agreed. That's agreed. I just don't think Dany being a fake, not a fake, but like having her not have the Mad King as her like father and stuff like that. I don't know. I just think it doesn't make. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. Shireen and Edric's relationship is really sweet and wholesome in the books. It's really nice seeing, or it's nice seeing Stannis' daughter and Robert's son getting along and not being agreed. 100% agreed. Viserys didn't want to tell her because she would be ahead of him in the line. That's Liam. No, that no. So it's kind of become basically this thing where yes and no, right? Because we saw this kind of exact same thing with like Rhaenys and Viserys, right? It still went to Viserys. The male heir in this world always will become before a woman, right? Sadly, because I think a lot of males are idiots, and there's some real women that would have been really good rulers, but it's just how it is. So, but yeah, no, because Viserys would still come before her. Like that's just how that would go. And if anything, I think Viserys, how psychotic he is, might just kill her then at that point. It's like, if it's that big of a threat, like, I think Viserys being how moronic he is, like, he would have just probably killed her. Or disinherited her. Maybe not killed her, but just, like, left her out in the streets. Agreed, Citro. Also, big Giga Chad. Big Giga Chad. I think this is the most agreed you guys have been on that Ilyn Payne is in B. 64% of you guys said that. I think that's the most, like, agreed upon you guys have been. All right, so this is going to be the last one of the stream. What do you guys have for the Blackfish? I think the best Tully by far. But what do you guys think about the Blackfish? So yeah, I'm thinking we're probably going to have 2 more streams. Maybe. I love how little Sam on here is a character. I think that's kind of funny, personally. What are you guys saying on the Blackfish? Shadfish, agreed. I agreed, 100%. So far, you guys are thinking S, and I can agree. I agree with this. So far, I agree with your guys' ranking. Let's see if it comes down a little. So far, I agree. I think S is a good spot for him. All right, you guys are resoundingly saying S, so I think we're just going to throw him in there. Agreed, Wiley. I think agreed. I think this is an easy one. All right, the Blackfish enters S tier. So I think we had, how many S tier additions did we have this stream? We had Theon, Arya, Oberyn, Drogon, Walder, and Blackfish. We had 6. All right. I also agree with that one as well, Citro. He was a huge influence there. Sweet Robin is not the kid of Blackfish. That just no. No. All right. Well, thank you guys for all participating in the stream as always. It was a great time. I enjoyed it. Hope you guys did as well. And the next stream, I think, for the tier list will be on Friday at 7 p.m. So same time. Probably will be on Friday. Hopefully, I don't think I have anything going, so it'll probably be Friday. But yeah, so thank you guys all for watching, for all the support as always.